Welcome back to the Summer Showdown tournament. We're in our winners bracket final. The number 1 and number 2 seeds, Seoul Dynasty and Shanghai Dragons, going up against each other in their second clash of this stage. And by most rights, or most people's beliefs, probably going to be their second of third, Avril.
Could be, and it's so many games played between these two teams. I have a big question for you, Trid. Do you count Overwatch League preseason towards overall match records? What do you think?
I would say yes, because it's an all-time Overwatch League, and preseason would count in that.
Okay, then by that definition, I will now proclaim that this is El Clasico number 25. It's been 24 matches played between these two teams in the league's history. I've said it many times before, I will say it again. It is the most rivaled story between any two teams in all of Overwatch League. Only two teams have played this many games against each other. No other two teams, in terms of their specific matchup, has gone this distance. And the record currently stands, including preseason, 14 for Shanghai, 10 for Seoul, the most recent win being Shanghai versus Seoul. But Seoul actually did beat Shanghai 2 times this year as well. Now, despite this being a bit of an El Clasico matchup, our last 2 meetings between these two teams have been 3-0 fairs. Previous to that, we've had a lot of map 5s, had a lot of 3-1s in there as well. Let's hope that this one can go beyond a 3-0 this time around. But I will say, Trid, even though we did have a 3-0 last time, it was still fairly competitive from Seoul, the losing side.
Let's take a look at that Seoul roster, see what made it so competitive in that 3-0. So he's going to be starting up today for them, I imagine. It's probably going to be what we've seen a lot this stage. There is Stalker, Fitz, Smurf, Prophet, and Vindane to line out the roster. Like I said, it might be the last time we see Prophet on support in this stage if any of the changes come through, so we don't have a Junker Queen meta. We might see Prophet back on damage.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And it's a really interesting thought process as well, because it's like, well, if Prophet goes back on towards DPS as expected for Countdown Cup, what does that mean for the rest of the DPS players? Because currently we're starting with 3 DPS players for the Seoul Dynasty. You have Stalker, Fitz, and Prophet. One of these 3 members is going to unfortunately have to go back to the bench once we head back into a more standard meta where Prophet doesn't have to play in the Brig. As a reminder, Eris is on the roster now as well, transferred from the Houston Outlaws. He's still waiting to play his first game for the Seoul Dynasty, which probably won't be until the Countdown Cup begins. It's going to be rough because I think we're starting to fall in love with this particular lineup here, but we know Prophet has so much to offer, and a lot of that does come through on the DPS side of things. Speaking of which, the Shanghai Dragons have been absolutely dominant from their specific POV of their DPS players. Take a look at their opening lineup here. Very predictable. Run the same 5 they run the entire stage through. No more are we juggling through a bunch of different members. Moon is not just subbing in members in and out, trying to figure out what works. He knows what works. It's this starting 5.
They're all effectively role stars of this meta. Avril, why would you interrupt with this in any capacity? Lip's been fantastic on the Sojourn, who I use the Genji Master. Void has had success on the Junker Queen, and Izayaki and Lee Jeong have been fantastic on the backline as well. Don't mess with a winning formula. They have not dropped a match in this stage during this meta. They have no reason to change things up now. And
they've only dropped 1 map, and that was to the Philly Fusion, not to the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah.
And to sort of recap the previous matchup, right, what happened in El Clasico number 24, which is the last match that we did play, how did this go? It was Lijiang Tower, Shanghai 3-1, Midtown, Shanghai 2-1, Gibraltar, Shanghai 6-5. So that final map of Gibraltar, very, very competitive, extremely competitive. So much so that Shanghai finished the map twice. So that's something to really think about. And Seoul nearly finished the map twice. So I don't know if we're going to get something like that again. I would love to see a repeat of Watchpoint Gibraltar. But for now, Seoul Dynasty looking for revenge. They still have a little bit to be concerned about, given they had a very close call versus the Fusion yesterday. However, Trid, I got to say, after looking at Fusion's performance today, there's a couple ways to look at that. Either Seoul, you could say, didn't perform great versus the Fusion, or Fusion are actually just insane right now. I'm more willing to believe the latter, that Fusion currently just look insane in the later part of this meta, of this stage, as you're ramping up. They did great versus Seoul, but that is not a mark against Seoul. I still think Seoul are an amazing team. Fusion very easily look like the 3rd best team here, and maybe if they beat the loser of this particular matchup, they can get even further than that. Second place is yet to await the Philadelphia Fusion, but for now, 1st and 2 seeds, Seoul versus Shanghai. We start out on Lijiang Tower.
Of course, before we jumped on to start off on
Oasis. We started on Oasis.
Baited by a tower. I don't forgive you for that.
Yep, I saw a tower. I saw a tower. I'm like, you know what? Just going to say it's Lijiang Tower because there's a tower.
Right, starting off on Oasis city centre to kick things off, and as you saw before we jumped into the game, Who Are You has their hair in sports mode. They've got the clips in, which usually means that they're in the all-powerful mode. I did not recall Vindame having clips.
No, Vindame did not have a clip. Oh, clip advantage. Hashtag clip advantage. Okay,
Going to the Shanghai Dragons at the moment. We'll get a check-in. Can we get a player box on Vindame as soon as possible to see if the clips are in? But they're rolling over and coming out on identical compositions and fighting over the Mega. Who Are You taking it to the Seoul Dynasty, playing very far forward, but now the rotations come in around the jump and the bounce house. Where are the supports going? Up and over the top. Profit backing away. Needs to because they have no HP, and Void's been deleted somehow.
Yeah, with, I don't know what happened there. Shanghai Dragons trying to chase down Profit. They end up losing their tank instead. That's going to be the opener first play coming through in favor of the Seoul Dynasty. Fitz getting a lot of damage done that you can be very sure that his rail had definitely something to do with the Void death.
Stalker cuts through. There's Smurf picking up Lige gone. Not looking strong for the Shanghai Dragons on this first round, but it is control, the first round of which. So we'll just take that first fight, see if we can get any more taxation on the outside, but I think the Dragons can make it back to the spawn room and regroup and come out as a cohesive unit.
It's a very extended opening fight as well, one that Seoul Dynasty actually capped in the middle of. So when we talk about Seoul Dynasty getting an early start that really benefits them, I think this is the best possible start. You don't get 5 kills, but you do get 4. You get a cap as well, and all 4 of those kills are kind of staggered out to get maximum respawn distance and time.
Take the same path they did last time, Avril. Try and move over to the Mega, but they are split now in a 2-3 unit. Before we reconvene around the point once they clear out the stragglers in the high ground. Brogan shot from Lip, not going to connect, but he's got Fitz in his sights.
Look at Lijiang on ult charge, by the way.
Yeah, pulling ahead, 80%.
Sound barrier way ahead of Stalker, despite losing. Lijiang has managed to get a lot of ult charge here. Very important for tempo. Might even be a tempo beat. Unless they track Stalker's blade properly. Have to watch for that. Fitz maybe a little bit of trouble, but survives.
It'd be so risky to use it aggressively though, Avril. They've lost Smurf, this is not going to be good for them. Cut through from Who Are You, this is the flip without a doubt. And if you're Seoul Dynasty, you're just going to have to take this one. You can't really fight this one back, and you're going to have to build out, and you've got your overclock ready, you're going to have your blade and your beat for the next engagement. 68% on the first cap though, nothing to scoff your teeth at.
It's a long time to get a fight win, but at least Dragons get a very clean fight win, right? They don't lose any players there. They don't have to spend their only ultimate available, so it ends up being cheap economy wise, and you get to save the sound barrier, most importantly for Stalker's blade, which will come through in this next engagement. Now, Who Are You? Not that far off. Vindame already prepped up to counter that when available. Shanghai Dragons, first defense now on board.
See how they roll out with this one. Double support ultimates are available. Very muted. Here's Fitz with the overclock, takes out his Yaki. After the rally was popped as well. That's a wasted ultimate, that's a one fight. So efficient from the Dynasty. They just used the overclock to make it work, and they get an ultimate, so they trade it out equally and will get the flip back in their favor. Fantastically played.
A little bit of a late kill to Lijiang on there, but he was also trying to stall out the actual percentage points. So, but a give and trade, just slowing things down for the Seoul Dynasty, allowing Shanghai Dragons to come in for a final engagement here as we force final fight. And talk about cheap fights, talk about economic game here. Seoul Dynasty, they get that in spades. They have Fitz pop an overclock, a single ultimate use. They even cancel out the rally from Iziaki, so it's a 1-for-1 ult trade with Shanghai Dragons losing. And Lijiang not going to pull the sound because he knew that he didn't have to. Now they will use the beat.
Blade for blade, beat for beat. Rally still available for Profit. That's going to be popped at the end there to get an overlap of the support. Void runs through, fights for. Smurf hasn't used theirs yet, and I think they might not get a chance to. They're going to find themselves dropping before they can bring it to the field. Shanghai Dragons, 4 versus 3 in their favor at the moment. No ults available on the field. Stalkers going down low. Who Are You's on the hunt, misses the dash. Just to find that kill at the end there. Good support from Vindame to stop the hunt. Now Shanghai Dragons have control. It's 99% favored for the Dynasty.
And I know there's no Cassie in this game, but Void versus Smurf showdown at high noon, and it's Void that will pull the revolver first. That rampage was exactly what Shanghai Dragons needed. Now Lip needs to try and get it done on this overclock. Smurf only gets 3, but it might be enough. Should be 2 supports down.
They're trading back and forth despite having the rampage in effect right now. They've got both supports up for the Seoul Dynasty though, so should be able to sustain this tank line.
Should have it.
They have to deal with Lip's damage. Should be able to. They've just found Lige gone. I think you're going to have Lip get on a point, they're going to go down. Seoul have their favor. Overtime ticking down. First round going away to the Dynasty.
Yeah, successful there from Smurf. It's a 3-man rampage. 2 members got taken down there. It's, I believe, at the end, something like a 3 versus 3 or 2 versus 3. But Seoul have Smurf and 2 supports alive. Shanghai Dragons only have 1 support. Lip still in there, but can only do so much. Can't get another kill. And for the Shanghai Dragons, unfortunately, they will not be able to hold on, and I credit a lot of the success for the Seoul Dynasty in that first 60, was it 68%, 60 or so percent in terms of an early lead that they had. Took a while for the Shanghai Dragons to come back into play. That opening line of neutral, again, 4 kills, 0 deaths, staggered kills as well, and Seoul got the maximum time on the actual cap available there as well. They had something like 20% plus as they got the 4 kills, right? So everything going flawless for them at the very early neutral. That's the kind of start that Seoul Dynasty have to be able to snowball with that Shanghai Dragons can't catch up on.
How has Fitz gone down this early already? How have they managed to get away with that one? Actual Fitz
Just who are you
Shanghai Dragons have the definitive list. Surely it's got to be like a deflect on a railgun shot to get that chunk immediately like that, right?
You'd be surprised. A Genji with, perfect mechanics here can just sort of dash in and combo you down. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Lip actually had a bit of a play in there as well, but in either case, it will be another 5v4 as Prophet will go down.
And who are you? Once again, hunting all these stragglers on the exit. Should be able to escort them safely back to the spawn area at least. Still in range to get some poke shots, try and get some minuscule amounts of ult charge to have a marginal difference. Shanghai Dragons, 30%, they're in control at the moment.
It's been at least small deaths for the Seoul Dynasty, right? They haven't been team wiped. They haven't had to wait too long for a bunch of different members to respawn. Shanghai have only had a couple of kills ahead. They're not running too far ahead in terms of ultimates yet. It's a silver lining for Seoul, and now they get the first blood.
Let's cut down 2 trades answered back though. There's no damage needed on the side of Seoul Dynasty. Tanks and backline.
They should chase Smurf.
And they're blocking them.
They gotta chase Smurf.
Vindame should be able to go down here. Nice headshot there from Lip. Smurf is just isolated though. Grab the Mega, good move, stops the burst of healing. Smurf goes down. So Lip has picked up all of those final blows as well, Avril. Look at how charging ahead with ult charge against Fitz.
Yeah. I don't know if Smurf got booed, but from my perspective, it looked like he chose to drop down into the hole. That's going to be a big mistake from Smurf because it actually staggers him out. He doesn't have the mobility to escape, and Dragons doing the exact thing that I believe that they should do strategically. Chase down Smurf. He cannot escape. He is definitely dead, and he will be staggered. That's maximum time gained by Dragons. We talk about Seoul on City Center having a 60% advantage. Now Dragons have that going for them.
To blow any ult shot as well. It's going to change very quickly in this next engagement. Lip's on the cusp for one, so is Who Are You? Is the Arki's about to get rally, and Legion will have beats. A couple of answers on the Seoul Dynasty, but Shanghai Dragons are going to be the ones in control of this.
Seoul alone. Look at the HP. Smurf down.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do about this one. Fitz drops down. The only thing they've had to use right now is the overclock and the rally, and it's a team kill with no losses. For the Shanghai Dragons at 90%. They're going to have to sprint back to the point if they want to have any hope of triggering overtime for this round. But look at the spawn close. They're going to try and do it. Smurfs switched over to the Doomfist just to touch and manages to do so before dropping down. Team should be able to get back in position. But yeah, you've now gone with Smurf. You're going to hope for the blade. Who Are You is going to cut off the reinforcements. There's a rally from Prophet being used. Vindame drops the beat as well. Double support ultimates used. Legion has their own. Void with the rampage. Only finding Fitz, who's got the overclock, but they're out of the fight. They can't find any angles to join in on this one. And overtime is trickling down. They find Legion gone. But there's not enough bodies. This is Shanghai Dragons walking away with this round. Surely you don't have the to get the flip here.
There's no support though, so Shanghai Dragons have to be considerate here. If Fitz and Smurf can get more damage on, they could clutch it out, but not going to happen. Fitz the last one surviving there. It doesn't matter whether he touches or not. It's a 3 versus 1. Shanghai Dragons, no Iziaki, no Lee Jae-gon. Doesn't matter. The 5v4 was worth it. They decided to focus down Smurf on the Doomfist coming back in to enable the touch. He's the first one dead. They have a 5v4 to start with. The Shanghai Dragons ride the momentum from 0 to 100. They respond big time on our second round there for University. They lose City Center, but 100-0 finish on that second round, that's domination.
Angry. They're angry they lost the round, Avril. And they're taking it out on Seoul Dynasty by being able to do that 100-0. Now moving over to Garden's final round of Oasis. See who takes the actual map and gets the first score in this series. TP's out. And rotate round to the point. No variation of the composition. I doubt we're going to see very much of that in this entire series.
Okay, let's see how the opening neutral goes now. One has gone towards Seoul, one has gone towards Dragons, and this one's looking Dragons.
Yeah, Prophet Smurf going down so early, it just makes the fight untenable for the Dynasty. And then Lip also gets a snipe at max range to find Vindame. Fits. Oh, okay, gets a railgun to Lijiang, so they get one answer back, but it doesn't change the outcome of the fight, and it means first cap goes over to the Dragons.
Yeah, I think there was something like 4 kills there. Stalker was the only one that made it out alive. And we talked about University being not the worst opening scenario for Seoul Dynasty, given that they just kind of lost to single members twice in a row. The time is a bit of a factor there, but otherwise they're not feeding ult charge. This time around, Dragons get the opening cap, they get the opening fight win, and they get 4 kills. They lose one, but Lijiang gone. He's a Lucio. He gets back in time. No issues there. Dragons, let's see how they snowball this one. Stalker notably does have a bit more ult charge than Who Are You. Iziaki's, yeah, got booped.
Does mean we have an advantage for Seoul Dynasty now, 5 versus 4. Flip nearly comes in, but they put some bodies on the ground to contest it. Stalker low, Lip answers back, that's now 4v4. Oh, Who Are You has got as well. Reinforcement should be coming in from the spawn room. There's still an advantage for the Seoul Dynasty, and they're going to press it.
What a shot.
There's a little Fitz, finds that flick onto Lip. Lijiang's removed, 40% flip coming in for the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, that opening kill into Iziaki. Might need to check up on how that one happened. I'm assuming it is a boot. Nothing came up on the kill feed, obviously, in terms of an actual kill credit. But Iziaki off the map, 4 versus 5. We trade the Genjis. Here it is. This should be the replay now. Take a look at Iziaki. Oh, no, that was not a boot. That was just a mistake from Iziaki, unfortunately.
Yeah, overshot the shield bash on Stalker, didn't find the connection, and the distance just took him straight off the map. Oh well, we start this fight as we did last time with a dead Brigitte. Prophet's off the field. Stalker's followed up as well. Fitz under pressure from Who Are You, gets cut down. That seemed quite effortless from Shanghai Dragons, if I'm honest with you, Avril.
Yeah, I mean, that was like a team ace as well, where everyone sort of contributed to a kill each. Who Are You with a brilliant 1v1 versus Fitz, full confidence. He knows he's not going to lose that one. Has the mechanics to back it up, finds a Mega to walk through with. And still waiting for ultimates. Would you believe we're like, 80%, 90% through combined between both teams, and no ultimates have arrived. Lip kills Fitz, and that was the only ultimate available for Seoul.
Yeah, Prophet gets away just in time. Everyone's outside the range of that disruptor shot. Just buys them more percentage, doesn't it, Avril? 75% and climbing at this rate. They have to run into the Dragon's ultimates. Lip with an overclock. That's terrifying to deal with.
And look at this, Vindame doesn't have beat. He doesn't have the sound barrier. So when Who Are You pulls Blade, when Void goes for Rampage, Vindame's just dead. He can't even get the beat.
Nice answer back there. Deflect coming in from Stalker, I think. Who Are You pulls out the Blade. Cutting down Smurf, goes for the backline, 92%. There's no answer here for Seoul Dynasty. No one's going to be able to go and get onto this point. They're sending someone down. Prophet went for the last touch. Vindame is on point after respawning from the early kill. Triggers overtime and now has to play the stall game. How long can they channel their inner zest to keep this going on with reinforcements? Oh, it's not looking good now. Stalker gets onto the point once again. It's a cycle of bodies to try and delay the inevitable. But I don't think they're going to turn this one. Shanghai Dragons, they secure the first map, take an early lead in this series.
Yeah, looks all but too comfortable for the Shanghai Dragons towards the end there. 100-0 on University. Not that much better from Seoul Dynasty, unfortunately, on our third and final round of Gardens. A little bit more to play for. A few more fights won. A few more kills actually coming on through. I don't think Vindame's sound barrier towards the end there would have made too much difference, whether that was going to be an Ajax or not. The Shanghai Dragons, the overall record for the Summer Showdown tournament now in terms of maps, Trid, is 22-1. They have still only lost a single map this entire stage, that was the Philly Fusion, and their winning record continues to be bolstered from 21-22.
Let's see if they can go ahead and get it up to 24 by the end of this series. See how many maps they lose as well. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, map number 2, it's going to be Seoul Dynasty's pick. Welcome back to the Summer Showdown. We've got Shanghai Dragons in the lead after their map victory on Oasis. And we're now about to jump into our second map of the series, and of course Seoul Dynasty's choice, and we'll bring you that very shortly. But for now, it seems like, I don't know where it came from after all, but round number 3 of Oasis, Shanghai Dragons got the download, and they all just suddenly got on the same page, and they, towards the end of that round in particular, did start to make things look effortless against the Seoul Dynasty, despite that rocky start on City Center.
I mean, that's why they call them the Shang AI, right? They will be able to download you eventually. They are the hive mind, and at this stage, the deeper in a particular map or even a particular series you go, it seems the more powerful Shanghai Dragons become. We saw a very nice early win from Seoul Dynasty on, what was it, City Center, right? They're the 60-something percentage early lead to gain, and Shanghai Dragons struggled to catch up, but once we got to the second and third rounds of Oasis, it was lights out. Shanghai Dragons 100-0 response on University particularly was just powerful to behold, and we are going to go back to another Hollywood. It seems like we've seen a few Hollywoods so far in the regional tournament, and back to Hollywood we go.
Pop quiz, Avril, did Vendame have clips in?
I didn't see any. I didn't see it.
I was paying close attention, didn't see any clips, so clip diff in favor of Shanghai Dragons confirmed.
Alright, clip that. Clip that for no clips. And right now, look at the past couple matches here. Again, the rivalry between Seoul and Shanghai. Last two matches have been 3-0. Seoul got a 3-0. Shanghai got a 3-0. Current record this year is actually 2-2. So Shanghai, sorry, that's complete lights. 3-2. Shanghai have won 3 times. Seoul have won twice this year in 2022. So it could be 4-2 or it could be tied up 3-3. Sort of to seeing now how the Seoul Dynasty can respond to this particular map. That's some interesting tech as well, by the way. You see Shanghai Dragons TPing Lip over towards the side angle to see if he can get a shot, and then TPs him straight back in.
Very cheeky. Doesn't give them anything. Fritz rolling out on the Ash for this defense as well. So we're finally seeing a deviation from the mirror.
Yeah, that's a Seoul specialty.
Is a dead Lige gone also a Seoul specialty? I don't know. Might be.
That's a Shanghai specialty, actually.
Well, it does cause Shanghai to go into a partial retreat. They're not all the way out of the woods yet, Avril, but they are hiding away from Seoul Dynasty while those reinforcements come in off the back of that first kill.
Our frog ran in and died. Yes, quite enjoyable. It's the average Shanghai Dragons fan, and honestly, I respect it.
As they sip on some tea or some wine.
On some critical HP. A lot of members on Dragons are critical HP, actually. They might have to just do a little bit of a soft reset here to heal up.
Dynamite's keeping him under constant pressure as well, keep having that damage over time, ticking away. But it's finally time for Lip to pull the shot off. Gets Profit, Stalk is taken down by Who Are You, and now Who Are You will rotate round to the point. Lip finds Fitz his second headshot of the fight with the railgun. And Void just wins that tank duel just because he has overwhelming support, and Shanghai Dragons get control of the payload and move on to the escort section of the map.
And it's like the first early fight loss didn't even really affect them, right? It's like, alright, we'll lose EJ gone, we'll just chill out for a bit of a second here. No one else actually dies. That was the only death so far for the Shanghai Dragons. They just recollect all their members, regroup properly, come back into play. Who Are You? Just exits as the doors open, so times it well enough. The Shanghai Dragons also have, by the way, the first ultimate available in Iziaki's rally. Fitz is also very close on that Bob, and that's kind of the benefit of playing Ashe sometimes. The ultimate does charge quite quick.
Yeah, just able to constantly harass with the dynamite as well. It's very easy when you don't have the sight lines and just that straight up damaging. It's just ridiculous when you can start using the ADS. Quite comfortable up on the high ground for now. No doubt who are you is going to get in their face in a second. Lip went for the shot. Bob's going to come out early. They're really going to play on tempo here. Right in the middle, gets the beat out from Lige gone. Who are you still found Profit despite this, so the supports are falling behind. Bob's just peppering away in the distance, into Void actually. So thankfully that's the member you do want the attention on. Fitz takes out Who Are You, Stalker pulls out a blade, find anyone before Lip gets the headshot down. Everyone's being shut down so quickly here. Avril payload only momentarily stopped because of Bob, and now it's back in pursuit. Izayaki's rally's about to expire. Lip will have the overclock for the next engagement.
I think the silver lining is that Seoul don't lose too much. They kind of play in the double ultimates, right? Stalker gets instantly blown up, and we see the damage from Lip. He was railing Stalker down from range. Stalker can't get a successful blade at all. Very important. Shanghai spend 2 support ultimates for that. And now we get to the final fight of the... Here comes the overclock. Smurf as well. Triple hit on the Rampage.
Yeah, 3 for 3 on those Rampages. Avril. Profit's going to take out Void, and it looks like Profit and Seoul Dynasty are the ones to capitalize on this one. Finally shutting down the momentum of the Shanghai Dragons push. And they don't lose anyone in that chaos as well. Big win for the Dynasty. They keep it short, just shy of point B.
Yep. And they, they being the Shanghai Dragons here, didn't have the extra support ultimate to block out the Rampage. Both Void and Smurf actually got a 3-man hit on the Rampage, but Vindame still had Sound Barrier available, pops in the Sound Barrier, wasn't extra threatened by Who Are You's blade, and strangely enough, this is a bit of a, uncharacteristic moment for Who Are You, but he's got a slow blade coming through. This has taken a while for Who Are You to build, but now he gets to use it for free. Profit can counter with the rally, but how successful will it be? So far, not so successful.
No, that boot to delay Who Are You doesn't really change the outcome all that much. 3 members taken down just from him alone. Make it a 4 with the shurikens onto Fitz. Yeah, it's looking pretty silly right now. Not quite the world record pace we were seeing, or the tied second place we were seeing from Fusion on the last time we saw Hollywood today. However, still very quick. 4 minutes left in the time bank as they're moving on to point C, waiting for the Dynasty to aggress and try and take the space.
I mean, despite Who Are You taking a while to get Blade in that particular, so far on this attack, it's just so enjoyable seeing his POV and his mechanics, his outplays, beating Fitz in that 1v1, dodging out the dynamite, having the dash reset, all of the above, right? Shanghai Dragons now pushing through. They do have to deal with Fitz's Bob coming online. Stalker as well has a Blade. Legion will be able to match that. Who Are You on the hunt? On the back line, Fitz the target.
He's drawing focus as well, away from the front line. Smurf, getting a little bit of attention, but not enough to make you start worrying yet. Lip just opened up the fight for killing the Fitz. Don't know how he keeps finding these ones.
It's important. That was the only ult.
Yeah, B comes in as well. Just going to seal the deal here for the Dragons in this fight. Smurf will have to drop down as well.
Stalker's dead?
That's the saving Chris. Well, you're just going to have him. He was the only member alive on the point. He's by himself. The Bob is just going to be the only stall tactic here. It's very easy to remove. It's a static target. You get booped away. You get headshot a bunch of times with the overclock. Profit gets there just in time, but this is that stagger we're talking about. It's pretty much done. They're cleaning up Seoul so quickly. Dynasty finished 254 in the time bank. So, still very quick.
And that's the thing, it's not a world record. This is not Fusion versus Guangzhou, but it's a staggering pace, and you can see that reflected by the fact that Seoul never had a chance to pull Blade. Lee Jae-gon felt so confident to even go for a tempo beat there. The sound barrier pulled through just to allow the Shanghai Dragons to walk forward with confidence and just use a support ultimate to run at the Seoul Dynasty. And typically you'd say, okay, well, if Shanghai don't win this fight, Stalker gets to pull a free blade. The only relevant counter is off the table now for the Shanghai Dragons. However, look at Stalker's HP in that last fight was just being shut down. Who Are You and Lip putting the damage into Stalker, had no chance to pull blade. It takes him so long to respawn as well. When he does, his team is dead. He still can't pull blade, so that blade never became a factor. That was the only risk for Shanghai Dragons to deal against, and it was never a factor. Fitz, okay, he pulls through the bomb, and by the way, he was the first death. He was the most important kill. If there was one member Shanghai needed to kill, it was Fitz, and they got him down. It was a late Bob, and the Bob was booped off the payload, never really stole the payload, and instantly fragged out by Lip. So it's a good ultimate, but it's also just free territory, free real estate for the Shanghai Dragons to clear.
Dynasty going to the defense. It looks like Seoul Dynasty Dragons go on defense. Seoul Dynasty look like they're going to roll out with the Sojourn this time rather than going for the Ashe flavor. Hopefully be a little bit more offensive. No shenanigans like Dragons had with fast TPs on the Widowmaker, but they will still roll out all the same.
Yeah. I just think, like, when you credit to everybody in Dragons, but specifically Lip and Huayu, they just look like the best specific members on their roles. Now, you could argue that players like M3 might be better than Lip so far. Lip's very consistent, though. Huayu is just the king of Genji right now, by none. I don't think a single other player touches Huayu. This is going to be Seoul Dynasty now, faking the rotations, now coming back through main. Shanghai Dragons not perturbed.
Still going to stay strong on that payload for now. Vindame goes down low. Dragons, I think they're sensing the weakness at the moment and they press forward. Not too much though, they're very tempered. Just playing their game for the time being. Dash forward from Stalker, tries to find a connection for the extra damage and Kate takes some space away. Here's the counter from Shanghai Dragons. Look at that, they saw the dash, they saw the uncohesive unit and they were like, right, time to go boys, put on the speed, walk forward, and the Dynasty's offense has crumbled.
Yeah, they just rush down Smurf, and you saw that from Dragons. Once they turn up the heat, they get the speed going, and it's Smurf the primary target. You have to be a little bit concerned now, though. With Fitz's late kill to Lip, Dragons do have to pull back. The concern now is, do they lose a tick or not? How much do the Dragons actually give up? Look at Void's positioning on the side. You'll notice that, okay, he's actually been found. I was going to say, if he doesn't get found here, this is a great position for Void to be in, but he takes a risk. He gets found. It's a 5v4, no tank.
It's a good opening for the Dynasty. They're on the position. Shanghai Dragons. Oh, Vindame's gone. Okay, Lip doing Lip things once more. Lijigon gets answer back. Lucius have been traded. I think they bought enough time potentially for Void to come out here and potentially go for the defense. Is the Arc is isolated. They will be going down. No way they lose this to Stalker. Point's been captured while this is going on. Staggered deaths as well. Which is going to mean point B is quite difficult.
And this is where I got to put some commentary on Void's decision making. I don't know if he chose to go for the hidden flank, just lurking, right? I don't know if he had time to rotate back towards his own spawn. He probably should have gone back to his own spawn for safety. It's a very high risk to go and try to, I guess, lurk in the pack room on the side. And if you get sniffed out, if you get caught, you are dead. You are 100% dead. They're 5 versus 4. And now it's another 5 versus 4 as Lip takes down, well, Fritz rather takes down Lip, so it just slows down Dragons from reapproaching. And if you are Dragons, if you don't have Void alive, you cannot retake A, you cannot contest A, and the Fitz kills just keep coming through.
Just keeps weaving those headshots in. Just buys advantage for his team every time. Overclock on the high ground available for him. Stalker's got Blade.
Look at the positioning. Seoul have now full high ground control. Dragons are coming out of spawn with no map control whatsoever. Payload is coming around the final couple of corners now on towards the final straight, past the county jail. And this is where Seoul's positioning is absolutely powerhouse, and it's about to be 4 ultimates on both sides.
Clock pop. Angle taken from Fitz. He's playing some Overwatch on them, quite literally. Do I use Blade that tears him from that space? He's playing very mindful. Not pushing forward, not pushing too hard with their ultimate. Lip returning the favor with the overclock. Doesn't find anything as well. Just scare tactics right now. All bark and no bite with these ultimates, Avril.
Well, everyone's just disengaging, right? We have the sound barrier from Vindane, the Prophet Rally layered in as well. Both teams respecting each other's ultimates. Seoul not going to push into Overclock and Blade. Shanghai not going to push into double support ultimates. Now it's going to be sound barrier versus Stalker Blade, and Stalker slashing green HP.
Yeah, it's just lots of cleave damage as well, but it's not enough to break through all the shields that came in there for Lijigon's beat. So they're trading Smurf for Izzyaki at the time being. 2 for 2 still, so it's a 3-on-3 on the payload. Who are you? Solo holding.
Smurf is alive though.
Comes in for reinforcements. There we go. Lip's going to take out a couple of members as he's going to walk it back in. Stalker finally deals with Lip. Who are you versus Stalker on the point? We'll get the kill right at the end here. Reinforcements come out of the spawn room. Spawn advantage for Shanghai, which means they're able to hold the payload for now. But I think the reinforcements for Dynasty are going to get there a little bit faster, perhaps, or roughly at the same time, just because of how quickly they were dying.
It's a very cool anime battle. It's Stalker versus Who Are You, and Stalker is going to win the 1 versus 1, but with Izzyaki respawning, and by the way, touching, I think about a meter or so left, about 150. It's not enough for Seoul Dynasty to sneak a payload cap in. Seoul, however, still maintain high ground control. I think that's very important.
Just the 2 there. Rampage is countered 2 against 3 when it comes to that impact. Lijigon will be feeling the hurt of the Rampage. Prophet has been converted, but Vindame and Smurf will stay alive for now. Dynasty get the advantage in the fight. Just declare out Who Are You and Lip, and then they will get onto point C and get themselves a time bank extension.
Yep. Very cool Void Rampage, but Smurf's Rampage as well, equally good. In fact, Smurf's Rampage is going to allow the Seoul Dynasty to pick up a number of frags. Prophet getting very active in the kill feed. This is what a DPS and Brigade looks like. 2 frags for Prophet before he dies. Allow Seoul Dynasty to maintain some player advantage, and certainly the right players alive as well as we head into now the C point push. Not going to be able to match the 254 on board for the Dragons time bank, but Seoul can still finish the map. That is the important factor now. What time bank do they have remaining at the end?
get to the end. That's also what counts. Dig there. Right click triggered them. Fitz has Overclock available. Stalker's down. Overclock needs to answer back with a big pick here from Fitz to keep the fight alive. They've lost too many already. And now they have no space to operate within. Izayaki's in their face. Shanghai Dragons reclaim control of the payload. They can really start to damage this time bank.
Okay, so this is where you talk about damaging time banks. The spawn camp would do that too. Let's see if Dragons want to commit to it or not. Half players on high ground, half players on the ground here as well. You also notice it was a very specific timing window in the last fight. Stalker and Blade Legion did not have beat, but that timing window is over. Double rallies popped and just waiting for the Blade to come through.
Steady on. Here it comes. Overclock pop by Lip. There's a hero playing here.
Oh my god!
The flick was there, shuts down Stalker, and the punishment to the Dynasty time bank continues. He knew what he had to do there, he was set up for it, and immediately shut down the offensive from Stalker.
Yeah, I mean, just the impact kill, right? The exact kill that you need. It's been a rough game for Stalker. He was so great in his matchup versus Fully Fusion yesterday, but today, the Shanghai Dragons just have his number. He can't pull out the blade when he wants to. He misses the timing window versus Lee Jae-gon's beat in a previous fight, and now here, when he actually does pull blade, Lip just destroys him. A single rail will deny the blade, and we're back into spawn camp territory. Shanghai Dragons taking the early high ground. We talk about Seoul Dynasty being able to finish this map with time. That starts to dwindle now. Payload is receding backwards. 115 remaining. They do get Lee Jae-gon, but it's traded.
Yeah, jumps down top here. Fitz outside, well, what would be their spawn room, if it is, just to try and deflect Dragons away. Sub 1 minute now. This is the danger zone, because like you said, they run the risk of, even if they finish at this point, they might run out of time to have an offensive, and the best they can hope for is a draw. Yeah,
so draw scenario is now on the cards for the Seoul Dynasty. But, you know, they might even get there if they don't cap. They still do have to cap. We're waiting for Smurf. He has a rampage advantage. There's nothing to counter that. Izayaki nearly on the rally, but Smurf has a window here. This could be opportunity for Seoul.
There was a lineup there. He's going to go for it. Finds two. Just Izayaki and Void. There were so many targets there, but it's enough to make it work. Void and Izayaki will get converted. Really making use of the anti-heal here. Home stretch for Seoul Dynasty. 30 seconds remaining. Shanghai Dragons, they can play for the stall outfall and guarantee that they won't lose.
And it's so big because Izayaki was on like 98%, 99%, so it doesn't have the rally to block out the rampage. Seoul will use a rampage to take control, but can they win the final fight? Fitz still coming back from spawn, about to hit the OT now. Izayaki, pop and rally, the blade is going to be next. Here comes Who Are You?
They're trying to isolate Smurf, cut him off from the rest of the team, and then they get the pick up quite easily. Fitz finds Lip with an overclock. Still alive for the Seoul Dynasty at this point. Blade gets sheeped. Who Are You is down. No damage dealers available for the Shanghai Dragons right now. We're in overtime though, Avril. They've already lost the map. They're not going to be able to get the overtime. They're going to cut through. Only finds Prophet, who's rallying at the same time, and he won't be able to convert it. Void might get cut down here, uses the Carnage. Izayaki returns to the field, immediately finds Stalker. Smurf over to the Wrecking Ball just to get onto the point. And now Lip's over in the back. He has his overclock available, and the sight lines. Fitz might get tagged here at the end, but Smurf is still on the point. He's going to be able to find the slam on the payload. Prophet knocks Lip back. The Seoul Dynasty still trying to push this one. Spawn advantage really helping the Dragons right now as Void comes back on the Doomfist just to try and get Smurf off of the point. They've cleared enough bodies. The stall tactics can only work for so long. Over time, as the swap comes in, they trigger it once more, but it is the last time. Shanghai Dragons secure map number 2. They're going to series point.
And what a shot coming through a Lip on a Fitz as well. That was a collateral shot that actually went through Smurf's body on the Wrecking Ball. He fired it through the body and hits Fitz on the other end. That's something that you can do with the overclock. You can't do that normally on the railgun. Only during the ultimate can you collat, and he perfectly lines up a shot through the body of an opponent. Unbelievable stuff, and Shanghai Dragons pull through despite odds looking like it might have been stacked against them in that final fight. But I dare say, even if the Seoul Dynasty do in fact cap, they would only be in a draw-only scenario because the OT was ticked over. Dragons had like nearly 3 minutes to cap on through for only 1 tick. I think Dragons put themselves in a commanding position to win map number 2, and the win record continues now from 22 to 23 and only 1 loss so far in maps.
24 on the cards for them. 1 more map to win. Shanghai Dragons could be match point for them as we head to the break. When we come back, Seoul Dynasty's last chance to stay alive in this series. Shanghai Dragons, they currently lead in their matchup against the Seoul Dynasty, and they are one map away from securing themselves a spot in tomorrow's grand final. We expected both these teams to eventually get there, or at least I will. I'll keep pushing that narrative. However, one of them can only get there first. Looking like it's going to be Seoul. They just have an escort map in the way, and of course it's Seoul Dynasty's pick, so it's a chance for them to pick a comfort position and try and build a reverse sweep from there.
It's just wild how good Shanghai look in this meta right now. They've leveled up to a level that is, I was going to say unprecedented, but funny enough, the last time I saw a team that was dominant was also Shanghai Dragons. That was last year. So Shanghai Dragons now kind of, once again reaching their own potential. Only they themselves can reach the potential that they have reached in the past. And they look untouchable. No other team comes close. Seoul is the next best team. And the next best team is only kind of getting somewhat competitive in maps. Granted, last time they met, Gibraltar was a lot more competitive. We don't have Gibraltar on board this time. It is going to be Dorado. And that's chosen by Seoul, by the way. So Seoul want to go to Dorado. Now, I respect it because historically, Dorado has been one of Seoul's better maps. But part of the reason why Dorado was good for Seoul was because they played the Winston dive here to perfection. You can't play that currently in this particular meta, but you can go back to the Fitz Ashe if you want to, and that has been a strong comfort pick for Fitz. I don't know if I really respect it as a powerful pick overall compared to something like a Sojourn. You can see what Lip can do in the Sojourn here, and Lip is also no slouch on the Ashe either. Seoul Dynasty, they're clutching at straws. That's kind of my read on the situation here because they're in desperation mode to get anything to work, and so far, nothing is really working versus the Dragons.
Who's going to pull out that solution though, Avril? Who is going to be the change? What's going to be the change for the Seoul Dynasty to be able to find their path
Prophet
through?
Junker Queen.
Prophet Junker Queen. Are you ready for the role swap?
We've had Prophet DPS, Prophet support, come back with a Prophet tank. It's got to happen. No, not at this point in time, no, but
that'd be illegal at this point in time. Because he's officially designated as support.
Is, it's another meeting of these two teams that looks like it might end in a 3-0. We've had some very close games between Seoul Dynasty and Dragons in the past. And now in the Summer Showdown, it's been very one-sided games, which is just so strange and very uncharacteristic of the rivalry that we've had. But, sometimes that is how it goes. It's a very long rivalry, but some of the games do go one-sided. Some of them are very, very close. And as mentioned and as predicted, Fitz will start on the Ashe. Now, Lip is going to start on the Ashe as well for a little bit. We'll see if he stays on the Ashe. Ashe has a bit more value on Dorado than other maps. But if Shanghai Dragons not getting spawn held, I think Lip might be incentivized to go back on the Sojourn.
They found Vindame already, so whatever they were trying to do, whatever the change was going to be for the Seoul Dynasty, it's not been a net positive one, unfortunately. Legion goes low.
Oh no,
Difference maker as they stay alive. Oh no.
Stayed alive though.
Dynamite taken down, there's some dot damage applied, Stalker's been found as well.
Did not stay alive.
More dominance from the Shanghai Dragons.
Who are you just chases them down. You actually see Stalker dashing in towards the window. He missed the window and actually dropped down. That's critical because it it affects his ability to get away from the other team, and indeed Who Are You chases them down regardless, so it's going to be a late kill. Shanghai Dragons haven't capped yet. Seoul Dynasty in position to go for one more final contest. And they need to protect Fitz as well, so they're going to come in from the side angle, which is important.
Get some complaints of damage on the team through the audio cues. Fitz turns the corner, sees the Genji, turns immediately back from the corner, doesn't want to deal with that. Sharp used on the point by Dynasty, who are used very low but will survive. Will use to find a health pack though. Can't play with
Lip's going to get bobbed.
At low HP. Well, he's taking out Lee Jae Gon, so not going to have that option for the Shanghai Dragons to stay in this fight much longer. Another headshot should clear off Void, but Stalker to clean up instead. They've deflected the attack. Jagged Blade pulls his Iaki back in, but Smurf can't hold that position on the corner, so will retreat and they will escape.
Strong retake. It's a really important retake from the for the Seoul Dynasty rather, and now Shanghai Dragons, despite getting the Bob online, With, I believe it was Lee Jae-gon down early. No shot for Shanghai to pull through on that particular fight. Just a little bit of heal up here for Lip as Fitz is trying to catch up on the Bob. And that's the other thing, right? Shanghai Dragons are missing a bit of a timing window as Dragons go through for the secondary push. Dynasty have caught up an ult, so it will be Bob versus Bob.
There's Bob 1. Bob 2 comes out too late for the Seoul Dynasty. They've already lost Stalker. Will only repair the damage numbers, won't actually win out. The Bob versus Bob duel was strong, but Lip was the difference maker there. Rallies now popped instead, layered over top of each other. Void's in the face of Vindame. Nice shot from Lip, tags him. Profit wants to get into the fight with the rally. He's been denied, and like you said, Avril, there is the cap for point A. Coach Gun just stalling a little longer for them to get that through.
And speaking of stalling longer, I mean, if the fight goes a little bit longer there and Seoul have more teammates alive, I think Stalker pulls Blade and anything can go after that. At minimum, you pull Lee Jae-gon's sound barrier in response, which is important for ult trading purposes. Seoul Dynasty don't get to discover what that Blade could have looked like though. Stalker dies at 99, and even if he had the Blade, too many members of Seoul down. They can't touch because Smurf isn't there. Stalker's probably the next one available to touch. They don't even bother going for it. Fight is definitely over. Seoul resetting towards the high ground here. They begin with Fitz on that high ground immediately, but this, make no mistake, is going to be a Blade fight.
Keep an eye on who pulls it first, who has the impact. High ground in favor of Seoul Dynasty right now. They're
better
just
for
raining
Stalker.
down bullets.
Harder for who are you, better for Stalker here. High ground advantage is big for Seoul.
Well, Lee Jae-gon takes a lot of damage before jumping down. Who are you? Tries to assault the high ground. It's dropped down from Stalker. Is that advantage going to be enough as the beats are both dropped in return? Bark and no bite for those blades, unfortunately. Stalker's now expires as well. Just done to get him off high ground. Rampage from Void only finds Smurf. Counter from Smurf only finds Lee Jae-gon. One-man rampages on either side. Mr. Carnage to take out the second support of Shanghai Dragons. Yeah, you have the Lucio here for the Seoul Dynasty to be able to support them. There's no supports for Shanghai Dragon right now.
And Shanghai Dragon still got a lot of push despite having no support, so Seoul backed out. They weren't confident in winning the 3v3 despite having an extra support in there. Didn't want to take the risk. I can respect it, because if you do take a risk and you do lose a member there, you are waiting for respawns, and Shanghai can cap. Here, you allow Shanghai to get a few extra meters. Payload is under the bridge. In fact, it's slightly ahead of the bridge now. The Seoul Dynasty have all 5 alive. It's Bob versus Bob again. We'll see which Bob gets the better of the positioning.
Nice boot back there from Lee Jae-gon. It stops the Bob from getting into optimal positioning, but Void will be cut down by the Carnage all the same. Bob versus Bob in the corner. Yep, classic. It allows these teams to have a neutral and honest fight in which the Seoul Dynasty are winning. Headshots coming through from Fitz and Vindame, clearing out the last couple of strikes with the rest of the team.
So big that they got Void down first. Smurf just walks up. Seoul Dynasty will win that fight off the back of that tank kill. The Shanghai Dragons and actually the Seoul Dynasty on neither will be pulling the rally through in the fight. We are extremely equal in terms of which ultimates have been used at what time. Profit is actually going to pull the extra one here. Both rallies now pop. The Seoul trying to go for a spawn camp, but I think they may be overstepped here. They're trying to back out. Dragons are chasing.
Yeah, lots of critical HP on Seoul Dynasty, being repaired nicely by the rally and some armor packs. Dash forward there, Lee Jae-gon actually ran straight into Smurf. They're very low, and there's going to be the pickup. Sports trading 2 for 2 right now, 3 for 3. Who are you, hunting Stalker? They were isolated, turns the attention to Vindame, has Blade for the next fight, doesn't want to pop it in this one. They're at 8 HP, someone hide. Oh, she comes in just in time to keep him healthy. Dragons rotate round to the point. Into that final section of this section.
It's a significant slowdown though. Look at the time, about a minute remaining now. So Seoul Dynasty have successfully slowed down the Shanghai Dragons, who are not quite as dominant as they were in previous maps, and that's credit to Seoul. They've really stepped it up for Dorado. This is kind of the hidden weapon, right? Why they choose Dorado. They feel confident on this map, and maybe they can feel good enough to collect themselves a B-point defense. We're still waiting the plays coming through. Who are you on the Vindame is a major blow. Who are you can pull Blade here without any impact on the other side. They can't counter it.
Yeah, no mitigation for Dynasty on this one. Who are you with the cut through, the cleaves there, aiming for Smurf, gets the extra damage off to the side. Profit, isolated Blade. Comes out from Stalker, jumps back into the fight, finds the arc, takes out Lee Jae-gon. No support, Stalker trying to stem this bleeding right now. As reinforcements will come in, turns his attention to Lip. Lip not having any of his funding business. Dynamite from afar, not enough to get the damage. Oh, it was enough to get the damage over time, and Lip just burns down. He can't touch though. He's not in a position to contest. Rampage is back into the fight, Vindame and Smurf. It's not enough.
That's it. That's going to be it. I mean, Lip's not here, can't use the Bob. Shanghai Dragons can barely touch. They probably won't touch at all. Maybe the Lucio comes up through. Lee Jae-gon is going to attempt to go for it. Will pay for it with his own life. And for the Shanghai Dragons, who is up next? How can they even win the situation? It's 4 versus 5. They still don't have Void.
They're going to run into this rampage as well. Smurf cuts through, only finds Diaki. Void gets a pick on the Doomfist. That's huge if you're going to switch over to an unorthodox pick like this for Stall. Stalker nearly goes down. They're turning it around. What is going on, Avril? They just need to find one more. Who are you? Lip and Void refused to go down then. They refused for Dorado to end.
What an insane clutch from the Dragons. That is incredible. Dragons have done it again. They managed to clutch them through what looks like an impossible fight. They had nobody alive. Legion died straight away. Void still coming back from spawn. It was like 3 players there for the Dragons trying to contest. Lip died late as well. Don't forget, the Bob comes in from long range. Who Are You finds 3. How does Who Are You get 3 there?
All the work that was set up there from Void at the end, just like on the Doomfist, getting that residual damage. Who Are You then picks them all off. What a mental shatterer for the Seoul Dynasty. They thought they had that in the bag there towards the end.
I thought they had it in the bag.
I think everyone did. It's probably doing wonders for their mental right now. Dragon still running strong. Rallies traded out. Shouts as well on the payload. Fitz looking down, trying to keep his head covered while he reloads and then opens fire back up. Dynamite into the middle of the field. Profit going down low after using the rally. Will be able to sustain himself back up. Wait for it, 20 seconds. Who Are You earns this blade in that overtime. Lip's gone down. He now needs to use it to save the Dragons on this offense. Izayaki's gone. Bob is keeping him under check. Too many members have gone down here. This is not going to be something that Who Are You can save. He's popped off by Fitz. But well, Avril, they had no right getting this far based on how B was going. But now they have to defend the Seoul Dynasty from this point onward.
I mean, it doesn't even matter that Dragons lose that fight. It doesn't even matter that Who Are You doesn't get the pull blade, right? They get the push far more than what they really deserve to get. The clutch was incredible on B. We're not expecting the clutch twice in a row, but clutching B was unbelievable for the Shanghai Dragons to even allow them to get towards C, and they are on the final corner. That is so defendable. Let's take a look at Who Are You again in that final fight. And he gets 3 kills here. Fitz, boom, Stalker,
reset,
just the resets coming on through. Who Are You going in? Okay, there is a bunch of damage done by other members there, but Who Are You with the insane cleanups there? The 1v1 versus Fitz, and he is every single time never been afraid to check Fitz. Go for the 1 versus 1s. Take down Fitz. He's got the confidence to say, I will beat Fitz in a 1v1 every time.
That confidence is exuding for the Shanghai Dragons. Not only through the mathematical advantage of having 1 less person to deal with, but they're also being able to play confidently. A little bit of moments of overconfidence, I would say, on Dorado offense. However, kind of justified at the end with that clutch right there. So now defense for the Shanghai Dragons. The line in the sand has been drawn. The entry point to the finals tomorrow has been drawn by Shanghai Dragons. Seoul Dynasty, if they cross that line, we go to another map. If they do not, they have to face against the Philadelphia Fusion to earn their spot in that final. A rematch of earlier in the tournament.
You know, and that's been, 2 map 5 so far in this stage between Seoul and Philly, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
See if Seoul have anything left to play through. You'll notice they go for the typical TP play. I say typical, they actually don't take the high ground here. That's a very conscious choice. They're trying to make the rotations through on towards the sort of outside courtyard area to make some high ground control happen. Swap sides, and Dragons will go towards the payload. Seoul go towards the high ground. Lip get caught by Dynamite there.
Yeah, and it's kind of dangerous because Stalker was still playing around the spawn. If he kept low, Stalker could have gone a cut through there and got an easy pickup. He's trying to do the same thing to Izayaki right now, though. A couple more shurikens. Support has to filter in. Izayaki's off the map. Don't know if that was a conscious reset or just in the chaos ends up going. This is just a little bit of tiny Overwatch on the coastal while Seoul Dynasty's winning the fight.
They are winning. They are down to 2 members, so they can't really continue this any further. Stalker has no HP. Waiting for his supports to heal him up. Dragons will reset there. I'm going to assume that maybe Izayaki just shield bashes off again. We did actually see that on Oasis.
Yeah,
so
Oasis, yeah.
It's not impossible he just does it twice in a row. In any case, Shanghai Dragons are not too upset with that. They get a 1-minute sort of time purchase there. They will slow down the Seoul Dynasty. They don't really get hard farm for ultimates. They don't lose the fight in a big way. They get the back out with the rest of their members alive. Now they get the continuous skirmish through. Fitz in a lot of trouble here. Could be down.
Yep, he's been removed. DJ gone. 2nd kill onto Profit. 2-1 trade for... Right, that's 2 for 2 now for the Dragons. The fight continues. Stalker doing a lot of work in this fight. Still quite even. And the respawn's going to have to come in for a next engagement. Nearly 2 minutes, nearly half of the time bank burnt, and they're just under the arch.
And Stalker has been really good for the Seoul Dynasty in this tournament stage and this entire, Summer Showdown. They had some reasonable moments on that Dorado defense here. He's trying to step it up. Huayu has a blade far earlier, though. That is going to be dangerous. There's no counters.
Vindame trying to escape. Has a speed boost and the support from his team to stay alive. No counters, just mechanics. Able to stem that blade. It now means that Stalker going to have their blade up. Legion does go down in the end. And so is Izayaki. No supports available. It's big for Dynasty. They should be able to push this advantage and get the payload closer to point A.
That's really important as well. You see the Seoul Dynasty, they don't use any ultimates to actually win that. When we talk about Stalkers getting the blade soon, doesn't have to use it. Take a look at Izayaki again. Is it a mistake? Oh, yep. I don't know. I think did he shield bash in the geometry and fell off, or he just sidestepped off?
No, he just walked off. He sidestepped off.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's yep. That's unfortunate, but it's the second time now Izayaki's just randomly fallen off the map. Hashtag unlucky. Hashtag it just happened. Seoul Dynasty now has hashtag 5 ultimates. The Shanghai Dragons are the ones that are behind. Have to credit Seoul Dynasty for peeling flawlessly versus Huayu's place. We talked about Vindame and Prophet not having support ultimates. Well, now Huayu's actually just dead, so they are putting the lid on the hyper carry of the Shanghai Dragons and really forcing Dragons back. There's going to be more free push. Dragons need to kind of force some ultimates, but they can't start a fight because they're constantly down.
Makes it awfully difficult for them to do so. With the overclock and the high ground, this could be big if they're just able to get a few uninterrupted moments to take these shots. Stalker with some deflections. Will then rotate back round.
Dragon's got to go.
Use back in the fight. Stalker's down. Okay, so Stalker's been...
Alright.
I'm not sure how that happened, but okay. Completely takes the wind out of Dynasty's sails, and they're going to reset instead.
Man just got overwatched. It could have been a rail into a long-range whip shot. I'm not exactly too sure. We didn't get to truly see what happened there, but hey, we said Dragons need to do something. They definitely did do something.
Who are you? Just keeps getting found out here. It's not good. It's not conducive to Dragons winning when, like you said, the hyper carry's just off the field all the time.
It's good play by Prophet. It's good play by Prophet to find those.
Who's contesting? Someone has to get down there. Lip can't be the one. He's got an overclock and he's being focused by a bomb. He now has the Stalker blade in front of him. Good force down, gets him out of the fight. Big anti from the Rampage. It's traded 3 for 2. Dynasty advantage. They're just taking over this map, Admiral. This is a night and day performance in this series.
I mean, not only that, but that's just a complete farce of a defense from the Shanghai Dragons. They just weren't present at all. I don't know what was going on there, but they allowed the Seoul Dynasty to free push the entire way through B. Barely tried to contest anyway. I mean, they are the ones that need to start the fight. They cannot allow the Seoul Dynasty to free push all the way to the end. They contested with less than a meter left. I checked, it was about 0.86 or something like that. Shanghai Dragons actually nearly C9 the point. And now we're already on C. There's a gigantic time back available for the Seoul Dynasty cap. They can win this map. Seoul Dynasty might get the second map win ever against Shanghai Dragons so far this tournament stage.
Herculean hold required by the Shanghai Dragons. Luke creating space with the coach gun. Good sightlines to Arc Tier, Stalker, half HP. Dynamite over the top. Dot not going to find a connection. Void has to take cover right now. Dynasty are on the opposite side of where they should be to push this payload through. They switch sides once more. Making the Dragons fight for the payload.
And the blade will be there now. This is where Dragons have to pull this through. Huayu must get a successful blade. He has to be pocketed well. Izayaki gets the multi-pack up. Here we go.
Nice, fast fits. He's been the shutdown for him every time. Dragons win the fight quite decisively. They will lose Lip. Stalker at the end. Only have to do that like 4 or 5 more times, Avril.
I don't think that many times. I think a good 3. It depends because Dragons... They can chill now because they are just defending the final push. Seoul Dynasty have to be the ones to engage. They have the Bob available. I don't think it should take Seoul Dynasty too long, but if Seoul Dynasty don't kind of push the envelope here and get things started, they might only have like 2 attempts. It's not a lot. 3 minutes was good coming in. It still is reasonable, but it's also the kind of situation where I would not be surprised if Shanghai Dragons, after kind of just giving up B nonchalantly, they defend C quite well, so that could happen.
Kind of a point C team, you know? Kind of a point C team. Vindame cut off. Lip's about to get Bob online. It's going to be a big tool for them in this next fight. Going to use it on corner. Actually, that's Fitz throwing out the Bob. No, he threw out Fitz's Bob first, then Bob, then, like, yeah, where did Fitz's Bob go?
Where's Fitz's Bob in spawn? What? Maybe got booed? I think I got booed.
I have no idea, but it does not do them any favors in this engagement after all.
Yeah, Dudu's about right.
Yeah, the Shanghai Dragons able to just cut through the Seoul Dynasty here. 1 minute remaining. The Point C team still alive. Looking at the ultimates available for what could be their final skirmish.
You gotta be concerned
Rally
now.
and Rampage.
You have to be concerned for Seoul because we're down to 1 minute. The Bob does nothing for you. The Blade could be successful. Smurf's Rampage comes up next, but Void has an earlier Rampage. There is only a rally. Stalker's Blade has a window of opportunity here with the sound barriers not available. The rally can still counter. So if the Shanghai Dragons to use their supports to peel and boop Stalker around to prevent him from getting a good Blade, Shanghai Dragons could hold this one. This Blade, to me, is a bit of a make or break.
They've lost
Smurf's
Smurf.
dead. So Seoul have to leave. Seoul have to retreat.
Yeah, they have to get out now, but they're being caught. Taxation! It's one of those certainties in life, Avril. 25 seconds remaining. Final offensive, they have to go as one unit. I mean, they hold them here, maybe go for a secondary backup fight. Like, maybe they can, if it's like a staggered one, they could get 2 fights out of this.
Fitz is on Tracer. Fitz on Tracer. You can't disrespect the Seoul Dynasty people are going for a spawn camp now because you are going to get back capped, so they have to be wary of that.
Yep.
Lip needs to get back on the high ground immediately. There we go. So it's going to come down the Rampage. We still don't have a sound barrier from Lee Chong. This is a load-bearing rally from Izayaki.
Finds free. Look at the cut down of the Seoul Dynasty. The B comes out. Stalker with the blade onto Lip. Who Are You answers back onto Profit. Stalker can't find the follow-up second. Who Are You has the advantage. Smurf goes through, finding free on the back line with the anti-heal. Stalker getting away with the skin of his life. Lee Jae-gon's there to destroy him afterwards. Smurf with no HP, no support, cut off from reinforcements. Fitz is the last one alive. They are a Point C team, Avril, and Shanghai Dragons to secure a spot in the finals.
24-1 is their map record. They are still not defeated in any matches. I mean, it's been 4 so far. 6-0 in the qualification stage, now 2-0 in the tournament itself. Like you said, they're going to go to finals, guaranteed lock-in. They didn't get to play the finals at Kickoff Clash. They didn't get to play the finals at all. Didn't even get close. In Mid-Season Madness, now finally 3 stages deep, we are going to see the Shanghai Dragons in a minimum podium position here. And you're looking at a situation where Seoul Dynasty, the second best team here, still cannot touch the Dragons. 24-1, the map record. The only map loss was to the Philadelphia Fusion. And you start to think back, what if the Dragons did not drop that map to Philly Fusion? It could have legitimately been a flawless stage with no maps dropped. Dragons look flawless.
Fantastic performance from them, and yeah, it does make you worry a little bit. Looking at how strong Fusion looked today, and looking at how much the difference was between Dragons and Dynasty today, when you look at the entire series, do we see a different story tomorrow in the Dynasty versus Fusion matchup? Because if MN3 arrives with the power they had today, I could see it go in the opposite way, and I could see Philly fans making their way to the finals.
Well, the problem is are the Dragons so far ahead that realistically it doesn't matter who faces them, it's just not going to change the difference at all. Whereas I think you look at Seoul and Philly, they're actually quite closely matched now. 2 out of the last matches went to 5 maps here. Very difficult situation. Philly nearly actually reverse swept. And maybe those 2 teams do fight closely, but maybe those 2 teams are both just that far behind the Dragons right now. Currently, you have to convince me that the Dragons are not just going to 4-0 the Grand Finals. No matter who they play, whether it's Seoul or Philly, a team has to convince me that they can even take a map off a Dragon, because I think it's going to be a 4-0 Grand Finals for the Summer Showdown. But before that, let's take a look at the player of the match here, Trid. I didn't actually hear who it was, but I don't know, take a couple of guesses here. Is it Lip?
I think it's going to be Lip. And it is Lip. There you go. The replay tells it all. Fantastic performance. Just before we jump into Lip, though, Avril, remember the one team that did take a map off the Dragons was the Fusion. Omen of signs.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Dragons remember that fondly as well, because if it wasn't for that, they'd be completely flawless, right? So they probably have their eye on Fusion. Now, they have tried to dodge Fusion for some time. Now we'll see if they can continue doing that. Let's talk about Lip's gameplay at the moment, because we are looking at his replays here. He has been pivotal in this matchup. I think things slowed down a little bit towards Dorado because he was mostly on Ashe. And I think Sojin has been more so his bread and butter this tournament stage. And the story of Lip's relationship with his ability to play Sojin is a very interesting one, because he was not that consistent in Mid-Season Madness. I think that was one of the weaknesses of Lip and the Shanghai Dragons in this previous tournament stage in MSM. But now, straight from the get-go, #1 match,
You look at the Shanghai Dragons across the board, every game they played, Lip has been a factor. MN3 actually gave a winner's interview in the Billy broadcast, and he predicted that Dragons will probably beat Seoul, and one of the reasons why is he was concerned about Lip. He's saying Lip is just too good. That's why Seoul probably will just lose to the Dragons. So even MN3, who looks like a mechanical god on the Sojin currently for the Philip Fusion, has the respect out there for Lip, who has been the key to consistency for the Shanghai Dragons, next to his dynamic partner on the Genji and Who Are You, also just carving through the competition.
Yeah, it's a terrifying Dragons lineup. Like you said, they are going to secure themselves a spot in the finals tomorrow, so there's all to war to look forward to when it rolls back round. But of course, that's not the end of the Overwatch League action today. Avril, of course, later this evening, we're going to have North America live from Toronto. I'm sure the fans have been enjoying that up in Canada, getting to see some live Overwatch action. That's all from me, Trid, and of course, Avril here this evening. We're going to be turning up tomorrow, bright and early, to bring you the losers final, and of course, the grand final, the Summer Showdown.